Tatsuro Taira versus Hyunsung Park just ended. I'm going to give you my thoughts on each fight, beginning with the early prelims, ending with the main event. And full disclosure, I had my buddy over. I had a few drinks, so whatever this video ends up becoming is whatever it becomes. So we start off with Pierre Rodriguez beating Caitlin Souza by split decision. This fight was actually fun. It was a really good opener. I felt Souza was the aggressor, landing a lot of knees to the body to start the fight. She advanced with the bigger shots, and I thought she won round one, even though she was outlanded, I do believe, by, well, no, never mind. She did outland Pierre Rodriguez. I thought it was her round. Pierre Rodriguez did land two takedowns, but I felt like she didn't really do much with them to really get her the round. But then we moved into round two, where Pierre Rodriguez came in still focusing on the grappling, but she really did implement the changes she needed in the second round to win on the feet. And let me look at my notes here. She landed a big flying knee at the start of round two, moved into a takedown, which I really liked. And it was a very close round. I had it 1-1, to be honest. And then Rodriguez in round three took the center of the cage, ended up getting a takedown. Well, she got two takedowns, one early, one around the middle of the fight, and just controlled the majority of the third round. Souza did outland her, but it was a really good fight. Pierre Rodriguez did put a lot of effort into this fight. I did like the combinations that Souza was landing, but Pierre gets a nod. Um, it's women's MMA. What really do you want from me? With the strawweight division, it was a good fight. It was a good opener. Then we move into Rafael Esteban versus Felipe Burns. Now, Rafael Esteban won this fight in the way that I thought he would. He did enter this fight, I believe, 4 pounds overweight. Now, Esteban started round one with some keeps, went for a lot of front kicks, gets denied from a single leg. Esteban then got Boons down near the fence, was able to get a bit of control time, goes for a buggy choke, which I mean, yeah, that's not really a choke you hear much of. I'm sorry, Felipe Burns went for a buggy choke, and even though Rafael Esteban was the one on top of him, Felipe Burns really did a good job on the feet, and I really think even though he lost this fight, I did like I saw from him in that first round, and then we move into a second round, which was clearly Rafael Esteban's round, but the strikes that Bones did land were major hooks. It was just a matter of Esteban got him down. Esteban was able to outwork him, 204 takedowns, and that really was like round three. You move into that round, and by that time, in the second and the third, Rafael Esteban was able to find the range on the feet. When he needed to take the fight to the ground, he took it to the ground, and he ended up controlling him. Felipe Burns did really good on the feet. It was, again, just a matter of him not being able to defend the takedowns. And Rafael Esquam, I believe, moved to 14 or 15 and 1, and he's really good on the ground. What can I say? Rafael Esteban, I know he came into this fight overweight, but he looked really good. And I do need to say, from the way the fight played out, and I know this is mainly the thing that people are going to cling on to, is missing the weight. He outgrappled Esteban. Now, whether you have more restrictive uh, weigh-in, requirements and that's up to the UFC, but it just worked better. Then we move into Austin Bashi, who had a first round submission. Now, Austin Bashi started this fight really quick on the feet. I love that he was landing the jab. He was landing with force too, and Giannis um got taken down. Bashi gets back, controls him the entire round, and he ends up getting the arm under the chin, wins by the naked choke, and this was a big rebound win for Austin Bashi, who just had a really close fight with I'm blanking on his name. I'm sorry, I completely forgot about his name. But in his last fight, he lost, I believe, by finish, and he was competitive. And for a young guy that the UFC is trying to get behind, he's really good, man. He's really good on the ground, and I like what I saw on the feet from him. Let's see if he can move into his next fight with the same energy he had in this fight. Yanisco, I gotta be honest, I kind of thought he had no business in this fight, so it is what it is. Then we move on to a very, very weird fight, I have to say. Now, Andre Pulev knocked out Nick Klein, but Pulev, to start this fight, immediately charges into Nick Klein, uppercuts galore from Pulev, and then Klein gets him down. We get some really boring clinch work, and he gets a weight takedown. Honestly, what I saw from Pulev in round one, he looked awful. He got taken down 3 times, and he couldn't get it going on the feet. And then we move into round two, and it's a completely different opposite. Um, I know my speech is bad right now, but we have tried to strike immediately in round two, got clinched against the fence, and it was a knee to the body that catches Klein. And I've been saying on this YouTube channel, right? If you're going against a grappler, body work. I cannot stress enough. Like moving into the Sean O'Malley fight with Marab, right? The number one thing I said is if Sean O'Malley is going to win that fight, it's going to be with the body work because again, you're damaging the stamina. Which Poliev knew what he needed to do. Used the grappling when he needed to. Nick Klein did go for a desperation. I believe it was a choke. I forgot exactly what submission he went for, but honestly, it was a night and day. Um, round one and two. I thought Nick Klein had a really good round one. I thought Puya looked really slow, and he was able to find the kick to the body, which a good one for him. Nick Klein looking at this fight. We'll see what these two end up doing next. We then move into Rodolfo Vieira versus Hyunsung. Now, my buddy that I was watching these fights with, he's slowly turning into a hardcore because of me. Again, I have this channel. I talk about MMA excessively. He comes over for the fights occasionally. And I legitimately told him the only thing that Fiction Gore has is a guillotine and a jab. And those that one sentence that I told my friend described this entire fight. Rodolfo Vieira immediately found out what he was doing, was able to get him down in the first and outwork him. Again, the guillotine did not come into a factor in this fight, and he just outworked him on the ground. We move into round two. Rodolfo Vieira, once again, it's just outperforming Chase Gore. Like, dude, honestly, like, if you were to create a fighter in which only had Dustin Poirier's highway rails, it would be Chase Gore. 100%. Um, but Vieira, throughout this entire fight, found the openings on the feet. Gore did clip him in the eye with his thumb. We did get a little referee break there, but Gore has no combinations, and it completely shows in these stats right here. Rodolfo Vieira nearly outlanded him, ended up winning 230 27, 129-28. But again, I look at Trayshawn Gore, dude, and it's like, this guy has two things. And that is the only two things he has: a power shot and a guillotine. I don't know. Rodolfo Vieira wins. I picked him to win. And, yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see what Trayshawn Gore can do. Again, he gets his guillotines out of nowhere. It gives him hype. And then he runs into a talented fighter. And he loses. I feel like that's his ceiling. Then we move into Rina Nakamura, KOing Nathan Fletcher. Now, this was an incredible performance. A minute and 2 seconds. Nakamura ran through Nathan Fletcher. There was no way around it. Ended up winning the fight with a kick to the liver. But for a guy that has grown up around the MMA scene, trained MMA his entire childhood, this was the performance he needed coming off of his first loss. Again, I can't remember to who, but this fight basically did exactly what it needed to, and Nathan Fletcher, I feel like his skill level is very apparent. While Rina Nakamura, like I've been alluding to, has grown up around MMA, the UFC, and all of that, and it resulted in a first round knockout, which I felt like it most likely needed to be. I mean, what? Like, we're gonna talk about Liverpool, the Scousers of MMA. When I looked at this fight, Nakamura should have won this fight 9 times out of 10 on paper, and he did. And he looked phenomenal. Once again, that kick to the liver was brutal. We then move on to Danny De Silva versus Kevin Vahalos. And Kevin Vahalos in this fight looked incredible. This was one of my favorite fights on the card. My buddy is a big Danny Silva fan. He was rooting for Danny Silva, which, I mean, when you're with your buddy and you don't really care who wins, naturally you're gonna root for the guy who your friend's rooting for. I was rooting for Danny Silva, but man, Vahalos, his movement, his striking, his speed, it's next level. Silva had a really good output, backed up Kevin a bit, even taunted him in the first round. But Kevin Vahalos was able to outland him, and part of that was that taunt. We do get a cage hold. Silva did land a big shot late. And when I was watching this fight, man, even though Kevin Bahalos outlanded him, I thought Danny Silva was landing some bigger strikes. And it was a close round. And then we move into the second where Kevin Bahalos found the right hand. And basically, the story of this fight was Danny Silva defended every other strike, and this makes no sense, man, but the right hand. I swear, in the Misha Tate, was it Yana Santos fight, where Misha Tate was defending every shot but the right hand, exactly the same fight right here. Vahalos was landing the right hand at any given moment, and me and my friend were losing our mind, screaming at the television, block the right hand. Um, but he didn't. We got a cage hold, which Silva did. Silva actually did a really good job at landing off of the clinch breaks, which is a skill in which, if you are a stand up fighter and you are coming into the UFC at this level, in this era we're in, clinch breaks are the most important moments for a striker. And I like what Danny Silva was able to do throughout this entire fight. He did outland Kevin Bahalos in the third, but Kevin Bahalos, uh, Kevin Bahalos, I cannot say his name right now, um, just landed the bigger shots, and this is one of those fights where you look at a guy like Kevin Bahalos only has one win, really talented on the feet, incredibly talented, and I did agree with him winning this fight. Danny Silva, he's right there though. And like, these is why I love MMA, right? Where you look at any other mixed martial art, like kickboxing, boxing, whatever it may be, you have, your star talent, and then you have your middle of the pack guys, which your stars beat out. Danny Silva, man, he is a beast. And 100%, his stock went up after this fight. I feel like this is one of those fights where you look at these two guys that put it all out there. Kevin Bahamas clearly won this fight, but I loved what seen from Danny Silva. I'm a big fan of Danny Silva, along with my friend. Then we move on to Neil Magny getting a knockout in the second round over Zaleski dos Santos. And man, I looking into this fight, this is this is clearly a veteran fight. Two guys who have been in the UFC for years, and they went at it and fucked it. Like, Neil Magny kind of looked like prime Neil Magny at moments in this fight. Now he's 38 years old. I would love to see him retire, but yeah, man. Throughout the first, Zaleski was like, let's land some pretty good shots, some kicks to the body, found the jab. But Neil Magny, man, the gatekeeper of welterweight, which again, I know that there's kind of a stigma, right? Just, of being a gatekeeper in the UFC. But dude, this guy has been around the top of the welterweight division, goes into the second, and he just looked like he looked phenomenal, dude. The jabs were landing. It was, finding his timing, finding the range, able to find the right shots, and he finishes Zaleski dos Santos, which I picked against Neil Magny because I thought Neil Magny was done. What is he, like 1-5 in his last um uh 1-5 in his last six? Even though it was mainly a grappling match, it did show me, like, if you guys watch my 48 hallway video, you're going to have the guys like Magny, right? Who are just, right there. And if a guy beats Magny, you know he's legit. If a guy loses to Magny, he's either right under it or he doesn't make the cut at all. Get to win the day before his birthday, man. And it was inspirational, man. I'm not even a big Neil Magny fan, but the way he was able to operate in this fight, you love to see the veterans picking up the wins, right? But yeah. Then we move in to Calrosa versus Nora Kanui. Now, I picked Nora Kanui to win because I thought she was better on the feet, and I was absolutely fucking wrong. Now, in the first round, I was right. Rosa did catch Kanui early with a right hook. We saw some heavy trades in the first, and this was a really entertaining WMMA fight, which we never get. Um, then more in the late first and the second, we did get cage holds, and then throughout the second and the third, man, I'll show you the strikes. Carol Rosa just put it on North Norway, and she apart from a Kimura, which Nora held for a decent little bit, was able to rip shots to the body, which I believe, what was the Kimura attempt in the second round? It was a decent Kimura attempt. And again, I know I've said it multiple times in this video, body work, man. It is major. Um, But I was really impressed with this fight. Rosa was able to control most of the second round, opened it up with a takedown. Um, then in the third, Rosa just dominated, and it goes to the rule that one MMA guru made of when it comes to women's MMA, you clearly know who's gonna win based off of whoever looks like they lean a certain way. You know what I mean, right? But yeah, it was a good fight. I did not expect that from Rosa. Those of you that predict women's MMA 100% correct, cool for you. I do not care. It was a really good fight, though. I really was impressed with Rosa. We then move in to the co-main event, Elvis Brenner versus Esteban Ribovic, and this really was a neck and neck fight. I picked Ribovic win because Ripovich is one of my favorite current fighters right now. But we immediately opened the first down with a head kick. Um, Followed by a good scramble. Brennan was able to connect in the first down, but Ripovich responded, and he was able to outland Brenner in the first. Brenner, man, he was getting in a lot of good shots, and Ripovich defended some takedowns, I believe. Um, in the was it the second he defended one takedown. Um, but again, Ripovich is one of these guys who comes into this octagon and it is purely a war. Elvis Brennan, he ran away with the second round. He opened it up, outboxing Ripovich. Ripovich, apart from defending the takedowns, um, was walking forward, but again, Brennan outlanding the shot, was able to land or win the second. Then in the third, we see Ripovich get the bit of momentum at the halfway point that he needed. Elvis Brenner looked really good in this fight. I really do. Like, one of the ways I look at this sport is obviously the winner moves on to better things, but Elvis Brenner in a fight where I immediately picked Ripovich, he really, really impressed me. Ripovich won, I believe, 230-27, 129-28, I believe. Or, yeah, it was either one or two. I know he got 130-27 at least. Second round was Brenner's, I do believe. But Ripovich, man, he's that Justin Gaethje archetype where you throw this guy in any fight, and he will be fight of the night no matter what. And he's one of my favorite fighters coming up in lightweight. I believe he only has two losses. Um, Either lost his last fight or the fight before, but it was a close fight. I think he's only lost one in his last five, but really good fighter. I cannot say enough good things about Rivich. Chris Duncan versus Mateus Sebastian. The fight of the night, dude. And this is a really close one. We got an accidental headbutt in the first round. Rebecca got cut open in the middle of the nose early, but Rebecca was able, or Rebecca, however I can never say his name right, was able to drop Duncan with a leg kick, but Duncan was piecing him up on the feet with the bigger shots in the first round. I thought that Rebecca won the first. Again, dude, this guy had fight of the year last year, and he comes in and has nothing but wars. And this is exactly what it was. In the second, same thing. Rebecca, he has a really good job, and I really think that when you look at Rebecca, you look at his pace, and that you look at the damage he puts on fighters and the damages that one to take. I cannot say enough good things about Rebecca. Duncan, though, he did land the bigger shots in this round, and oh, yeah, oh, it was weird. But we move into the third, and the third was a phenomenal round by Duncan. To me, Duncan Duncan won this fight purely off of being able to match the pace of Rebecca. Again, he's coming off of that World Battle fight, right? Where it was fight of the year, and dude, kind of like Ribovich, this is another guy I love in the UFC right now, and he does not get enough credit. Where you can throw him on any card, and you're going to have a fighter than a contender, which is very, very important for a Apex card. Which why are we still in the Apex? We'll get to that in a second. But really good win for Chris Duncan. Um, really close. I gotta be honest. I thought Rubeski won watching the fight, but fuck, again, it's one of those fights where you walk away from it, and both of these guys increase their value, which is very, very rare in modern MMA. Then we move into the main event. And Hyunsung Park won by third round knockout, as I predicted. No, I'm just kidding. Tatsuro Taira, and his time I put respect on his name, he dropped Hyunsung Park immediately. And now we know that Hyunsung Park came into this fight off of the couch and all that stuff. But dude, I can't deny it. Tyra is talented, dude. He instantly got parked down, controlled him all of round one. Hyunsung Park did Orlando, but again, most of those shots were meaningless, and just the overall control that um Tyra had. Then we move into the second dude. He got him down early, and really with no effort, he got the rear naked choke. Well, not rear naked choke. Round one face crank. But I mean, it's all about, arm placement. And, you know, I thought Park was going to win this because Park, the reason I picked him is, you have those hands and he's a decent grappler. But then you have Tatsuro Taira. I cannot deny it, even though I was rooting against the UFC. This guy, like Kyle Sakura, like some of the other road to the UFC fighters, this guy really is good, and he's coming off a loss to the number one contender. I don't know if I said I don't know if I said they lost to Pantoja. Tyler lost to Royval. Asakura lost to Pantoja. Um, but yeah, he got the submission. I know that he was supposed to fight Amir Albazi. I would have picked him to fight Amir Albazi, but I just thought with what I saw with Hong Chang Park, we were going to see an upset, but I was wrong, man. And overall, I'd say this was a really good card. The biggest thing, and I alluded to this at the start of the video, or whatever I alluded to, the Apex dude, it kills cards completely. The moment I see that it's an Apex card coming up on Saturday, half of my excitement is completely gone, right? But it did deliver. We did have a lot of good performances. Let me know in the comments down below. What did you think about this card? What did you think about Tatsuro Taira's performance? Um, yeah, man. I just It makes no sense to me. I get you made the UFC Apex during the pandemic. It was a major move. You were one of the only sports moving in to the whole thing that was active, that was making money. But the part of the sport is going to a city, hyping it up in that city, and having people in that city tweet out, hey man, I'm excited for this fight, that fight. Well, you don't see that anymore. And I made a short about this earlier, but once again, let me know what you thought about these fights down below. Again, this is my genuine reaction, so whether they're bad or not, I do not care. That's what I got. Later. Love you guys.